So the ferries are gone, Main Street is empty, and somewhere in the distance, you hear movement. You don't know whether it's an animal, a loose gate, or something dragging itself through the dark. You are still inside Jurassic World after the evacuation. So what do? Do you run? Do you hide? Do you even know where to go? Could you survive one night in Jurassic World? Well, the answer depends on how quickly you understand the trap that you're actually in. Jurassic World was designed to move people through danger while making them feel that that danger was controlled. But the park is not guiding you anymore. It's exposing you. Your first instinct would probably be to stay in Main Street, and that makes sense. It's familiar, it's wide, it's out in the public. It feels like the kind of place that would help you. The kind of place you'd return to after the evacuation, separated from everyone else. Main Street would look like the closest thing to safety, and that instinct would get you killed. Main Street is one of the worst places to stand after dark because it's built for the crowds. It's not built for hiding. Look at the glass storefronts. That reflects movement. Sound carries across the plaza, and every step will feel way louder than it should. And the first real threat won't come from the ground. People always imagine the T-Rex first because it's the obvious nightmare. Huge footsteps, massive jaws moving through the darkness. But that's wrong. The first danger would actually be the Pterosaurs. The Main Street attack already showed us how quickly safety can be torn apart. They drop fast, they strike into the crowds, and they create panic before anyone understands what the hell is going on. And at night, they become even worse because you cannot properly track the sky. Your eyes stay on the ground because that's where your brain expects the danger to come from. And that mistake will get you killed. And that's not even the worst part. The Pterosaurs don't even need to kill you directly. They only have to lift you up. That is enough. A person dragged off balance, dropped onto the pavement, is finished long before the T-Rex ever finds them. So do you decide to get out of the open? And that is when you notice something else. Not a roar or heavy footstep. A rustling sound near one of the decorative planters lining Main Street. And at first it might seem harmless, maybe like a bird. And then you see it. A tiny shape darts across the path. And then another. It's a compy. Just little dinosaurs, right? They look harmless. One by itself is not much of a threat, but the problem is, compies rarely stay alone. They move in groups, slipping through the gaps and shadows that large predators cannot use. You likely wouldn't even notice them until they're already surrounding you. See, in the novels, their bite actually carries venom, capable of causing paralysis. Even if Jurassic World compies are less dangerous, that is not a risk you want to take. Imagine taking a bite to the ankle, and your legs start to weaken, and you're still standing in the middle of the abandoned theme park, filled with much larger predators. Compies don't even need to kill you, all they need to do is slow you down, and then they will eat what's left. So you decide to back away slowly. No sudden movements, no panic. The tiny dinosaurs watch you for a moment before disappearing back into the darkness between the planters and the storefronts, and just like that, poof, they're gone. And we still haven't left Main Street. Would you have made it this far? Well, let's continue. You see, a shop might be the first place that you try. You know, it has walls, stock rooms, a door maybe you could pull shut, and all that could help if something is circling above Main Street. Any roof is better than standing exposed, right? But the theme park shop is not a safe place. The front of the shop is glass and the entrance is weak. And if the power flickers on and off, you suddenly become visible through the windows if something outside sees movement. That whole building then becomes a trap. And it only gets worse. That entire Main Street was filled with restaurants, and that's probably the worst type of place you want to be. Waste bins, cooking areas, spilled food, all of that sending out a massive signal to all the other animals on the island. It's ringing a buffet bell, and you're going to be inside that buffet. But then you hear something else, a heavy impact somewhere beyond the buildings. You freeze. For a second, nothing follows it. Then it comes again, lower this time, closer. Whatever's moving out there doesn't need to rush. You already think you know what it is. The T-Rex. And you don't even need to. The sound is enough. You want to know where it is. You want to know how close it is. Or whether it's coming towards you or simply passing by. And the shop, which you felt was safe a minute ago, feels oh so fragile. The roof can hide you from the Pterosaurs, yeah. But the door can't stop a T-Rex if it decides it wants to push through the building. So you decide to move, not far or fast, just enough to leave the public-facing part of Main Street and find something uglier or something less designed, something guests were never meant to think about. A staff corridor or maintenance room just off the edge of Main Street. Getting there is the hard part. Every sound feels too loud for a park which has now gone completely silent. You're hearing things guests were never meant to hear, glass shattering behind you, a gate shifting in the distance, or an animal call coming from a direction that makes no sense, and then panic starts to ask the questions. Was that a raptor? Is there a T-Rex? Is something close? You start moving slowly. You get lower. You break the line of sight. You only run once something has already seen you. Because running through Jurassic World at night, that advertises you to everything else. You haven't even figured out how you're going to get off the island yet, but that bit will come. The staff-only route feels like the smartest choice, until you realise something else may already be using it. At first, this bunker corridor seems quiet. The emergency lights buzzing overhead and flickering of lights across the concrete. Then you hear a scrape up ahead. It's claws. Claws on concrete. You stop. The sound comes again. Slow and more deliberate. Somewhere beyond the next turn in the corridor. For a second, you might think it might be a smaller animal, like one of them compies. Then the shape crosses the emergency light. It's a Monolophosaurus. Camp Cretaceous showed us these animals. They could move through the hidden side of Jurassic World. And in a place like this, that makes it even more terrifying. Out in the open, the Monolophosaurus might not be the biggest thing on the island, but in this small corridor, it is built perfectly to kill you. It's too large enough to fight, small enough to follow you wherever you go, and the corridor takes away your options. There's no buildings to duck inside of, it's just one corridor, you and this beast. And it steps forward. Not rushing, just testing the space. You back away slowly, but the corridor behind you suddenly feels way longer than it did before. But a door sits halfway down the wall, staff only. But what if it's locked? Or what if it's open? There's no way you're going to back out in time now if the Monolophosaurus decides it's going to chase you down. You reach for it, without taking your eye off the shape ahead, and the handle moves. The Monolophosaurus darts towards you, the handle gives, and you slip inside the door and force it shut before the Monolophosaurus gets to you. The shape passes close enough to the door that you can hear it breathing through the metal, but then it just moves on. But staying in this room just buys you time. It doesn't get you off the island, and that's the problem. A locked room might keep you alive for a few hours, but it doesn't guarantee you rescue. The island is massive, radios may be dead, the normal ferries are long gone, and nobody knows you're still there, or worse, they assume you're dead. Hiding in this room could keep you alive, but you'd be forgotten, so the goal has to change. You need to get off of Isla Nublar. You're smart, you've watched my videos on the restricted section and know that I'm going to give you the detail that changes everything. Jurassic World had more than one main guest dock. There was a VIP dock, which we've seen in Camp Cretaceous. Private access points, boats away from the normal ferry system. These places were built for the executives, special visitors. A hidden side of the park which most guests will never see. That means there might be a way out without going anywhere near the public evacuation routes. But finding them, that's the problem. A normal guest map will not help you now. Those maps were designed to sell to guests and just show you parts of the park. They weren't designed to show you maintenance routes, security checkpoints. You get the picture. So your first objective now becomes information. And then you find it. Not on a guest map, but on an evacuation board hidden behind a security desk. Most of the routes were useless now. We showed the public ferry evacuation route in bright colours, but near the edge of the board, almost blurred under the smaller label, there's another route: private marine access, VIP dock, emergency craft. For the first time all night, the island has given you something that looks like hope. It cuts behind the service side of the resort, past the maintenance road, and then through a restricted animal handling corridor, near the raptor containment sector. That's the trade-off, and that is where the boat exists. So do you risk it for a chocolate biscuit? It's the only way. Now the goal changes again. When you finally move, you are not looking for the nearest attraction exit anymore. You're looking for the version of Jurassic World built behind this public one. So you move through the back of the park, and somewhere beyond the wall, something moves through the plants. You stop before you know what it is. The size doesn't matter yet. If you cannot see it clearly, you treat it like it can see you. You see, this route has pulled you further away from Main Street and deeper into the parts of Jurassic World tourists were never meant to see. And this is where another part of Jurassic World becomes dangerous. Not every animal on the island physically needs to hunt you. Some only just need to panic. A frightened Triceratops doesn't have to aim for you to crush you, or an Ankylosaurus doesn't need to see you as prey for its tail to turn a narrow route into a death trap. A stampeding herd doesn't even know you're there, and it wouldn't even matter if you did. You'd be crushed alive. Every animal you encounter now could be a death sentence. A panicked animal the size of a van could crush or maim you in a matter of seconds, and this is why the jungle is probably a terrible shortcut if you were thinking of cutting through any jungle. A lot of people would think that the trees would offer cover. They do not. The jungle belongs to the animals, and once you leave the built-up areas, you lose your light, hard surfaces, your walls, your doors, any real sense of direction. So you stay near the hidden roads, even when the path takes you past the attractions. The gyrosphere station might look useful. Maybe you could use one of their vehicles to cross the park. That would be a terrible idea. They likely wouldn't even work, and even if they did, you'd have to know how to operate them from the station. So how are you going to get to this other side of the island, this VIP section? Maybe the monorail could be a better idea. It's above ground, connected to major parts of the park, and closer to the real evacuation system, but after the collapse, a stopped monorail could become another trap. If the power fails while you're inside, you're exposed to the elements, and even the Pterosaurs. If you reach another station, you still have to cross open platforms, potentially heavy glass spaces. The park keeps offering you things that look like answers. They're not. They're death traps. That's how you would die in your first night. Eventually, the service route you've been following leads towards the private side of the island. The dock is exposed. The platform around it carries the sound, and the tree line behind you gives anything on land a place to watch from. And the water hides things below. What if the boat needs a key? A cord? Is it even got fuel? Does the engines work? All of these create new problems. You see the dock before you reach it. A small emergency boat, half hidden near the private dock, is the first thing all night that looks like an answer. The sight of it makes you want to run. You do not. You watch first. Then you hear it. A strange call from beyond the trees. Short, sharp, almost like a bark. Not a dog. Nothing that should be here. You freeze. For a moment, everything is silent again. Then you see movement. A shape emerges from the shadows near the edge of the dock. It's a velociraptor. It moves slowly, head low, scanning the area, not charging, not hunting openly. It's investigating. Maybe it heard the boat knocking against the pier. Maybe it caught your scent. Maybe it's simply curious. It steps onto the dock and pauses, looking, listening. The moonlight catches its eye for a second. You stay perfectly still. This is where most people would lose control. Fear would take over. They'd start sweating, panting, and the raptor would pick up on all of that. And you'd be dead. It would lunge towards the trees, eat you and devour you alive. You cannot afford to panic. The raptor lingers for what feels like forever before finally turning away, disappearing back into the darkness from whence it came. Only then do you move. You step towards the dock as carefully as you can. You keep low and you reach the boat and check it by touching more than sight. You feel the rope, the edges, the controls, the fuel. The engine is the problem. If you start that now, near the dock, it would announce your position to everything close enough to hear it. But if you untie yourself without any power, you could be carried somewhere even worse, especially if the water connects to anywhere near the lagoon system. Jurassic World doesn't just have land predators. The Mosasaurus could even change the meaning of escape. You see, in Jurassic World, empty water is something you should never assume. But you're so close to escape now, so you choose to get some distance before you turn on the engine. You untie the boat, push away from the dock, and let the current and the smallest movements carry you away before the engine ever starts. So even if you do find this VIP dock and you reach it, even if the boat is still there, survival still depends on things Jurassic World has already shown us it cannot guarantee. So now you're out in the middle of the ocean. Are you safe? Do you know which way to go? Only time will tell. Could you survive one night in Jurassic World? Were these the choices you would have made? Tell me how you'd survive Jurassic World in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit that like button if you've watched this far. I really do appreciate it. And go and check out all my other videos. And don't forget, subscribe right now to never miss a video, because there's plenty like this coming up. Massive thanks to the InGen research team who are on screen now. Couldn't do this without you. And if you came across a velociraptor out in the open, could your day get any worse? You bet Jurassic can. Catch you later.